I remember the exact second my heart stopped, the moment the salt wind slapped my face and Marcus's voice sliced through it like a rusted blade. Parasite. Get the hell out. The words weren't just sound. They were a physical shove, a boot to the sternum, knocking the air from my lungs before I'd even crossed the threshold. My canvas duffel slid from my numb fingers and landed on the weathered cedar planks with a dull, final thud, like a coffin lid closing. The smell of low tide and sunscreen hit me first, then the sour tang of spilled beer wafting from inside. I'm Elena, 34, marine ecologist. I spend my days mapping dying coral reefs, coaxing life from bleached skeletons, trying to convince the ocean it's worth saving. I bought this house, this pale blue driftwood miracle perched on stilts above Folly Beach, with every overtime dive, every grant I bled for, every night I chose tide charts over Tinder. 3 years of scraping, sacrificing, sanding splinters from my palms until the walls gleamed the color of moonlit foam. The deck rails still bore the faint scars of my teeth marks from the day I'd bitten down to keep from screaming when the contractor quoted double for hurricane-proof glass. My sanctuary. My proof that a girl who grew up sharing a twin mattress with her sister in a trailer that smelled of mildew and menthols could own something the sea couldn't reclaim. But now 15 strangers sprawled across my linen couches like they'd been poured there. Bare feet on my teak coffee table, leaving greasy prints on the grain I'd oiled myself. Red Solo cups sweating rings into the wood like accusations. Laughter ricocheting off walls I'd painted with my own trembling hands, each stroke a promise to myself that this place would never smell of anyone else's desperation. Marcus's parents, his mother's judgmental squint cutting through the dim light, his father's booming guffaws shaking the rafters. His brothers, cousins, a toddler I didn't recognize gnawing on the arm of my armchair with sticky fingers. The air was thick with the cloying sweetness of cheap coconut rum and the metallic bite of entitlement. And in the kitchen pass-through, my sister Lila, eyes glued to her phone, pretending the screen could swallow the sound of her husband evicting me from my own life. Her hair, once the same sun-bleached gold as mine, was now dyed a brassy salon blonde, pulled into a messy bun that screamed I gave up. She wore the same faded Clemson hoodie she'd stolen from me in college, the one I'd worn on my first research cruise when I puked over the rail at 3 a.m. and still managed to log data on sea turtle migrations. I tasted copper, not blood rage. It coated my tongue like the iron tang of a cut lip. Marcus, I said, my voice low, the way you speak to a shark that's already tasted blood. This is my house. He laughed, a bark that sprayed spit across the air between us, flecks landing on my cheek like hot ash. Lila said we could crash. You weren't even supposed to show. His eyes, hazel, bloodshot, ringed with the purple of too many late nights, were fixed on me like I was a stain he could scrub out. Lila finally looked up. The sister who used to braid my hair while we whispered about escaping mom's boyfriends, our breath fogging the cracked window of our shared bedroom. The sister I'd lent 30 grand to when their mortgage suffocated them, money I'd saved by eating ramen for 6 months straight. The sister who'd smiled 2 nights ago at mom's birthday toast, asterisk, enjoy the beach, L. You deserve it. Asterisk, her voice syrupy with the lie she'd already planted. She shrugged, like my weekend plans were a post-it note she could peel off and trash. The house just sits empty, she said, voice light as sea foam, as if the walls weren't echoing with the sound of my heartbeat. Marcus's family drove 6 hours. You're one person. One person. The words landed like a gulls. Droppings, messy, inevitable, impossible to ignore. I'd always been the tide pool, still water, safe for everyone to dip their toes. I'd babysat their kids after 12-hour field surveys, sand still gritty between my toes, reading them the rainbow fish while my own eyes burned from salt water and exhaustion. I'd hauled furniture for Marcus's deadbeat brother in 98-degree heat, sweat stinging my eyes while he complained about the AC in his truck, and I bit my tongue until it bled. I'd kept every secret, paid every favor, swallowed every slight until my throat was raw and my stomach lined with ulcers. Marcus stepped closer, breath sour with cheap beer and entitlement, the kind of stench that clings to clothes and memories. Do the math, Elena. Leave. His mother nodded from the couch, sipping my wine from my stemless glass, judging me with eyes the color of dishwater left too long in the sink. Her lips curled in a smirk that said, "You don't belong here," as if the deed in my name was just a technicality. Something in my spine uncurled, slow, ancient, lethal. A reef waking up. The kind that lures ships with beauty and then rips their holes open on hidden teeth. I smiled. Not the polite curve I'd perfected for grant committees, the one that said, "Please fund my research." A smile like a moray eel unhinging its jaw, all teeth and promise. "Sure," I said, calm as the eye of a hurricane, the kind that fools you into thinking the storm has passed. "I'll go." Marcus blinked, thrown. He'd expected tears, begging, the old Elena who apologized for existing, who would have offered to sleep in the shed just to keep the peace. I turned, left the door yawning open behind me like a mouth that had already swallowed my past. The screen door slapped shut with a sound like a gunshot, echoing down the empty street where gulls wheeled overhead, screaming like they knew what was coming. I drove 3 minutes down the road, tires crunching over crushed shells before pulling into the Shell station. My hands trembled so hard the steering wheel blurred, knuckles white as bleached coral. I called my lawyer, Grant, calm, shark-eyed Grant who'd closed my foreclosure deal like a guillotine, his voice smooth as polished obsidian. Then my property manager, Tara, who'd once helped me evict squatters from a rental in grad school, her laugh raspy from years of chain-smoking on dive boats. Then the power company, the woman on the line sounding bored until I gave my account number and said, "Suspend service immediately." Then the sheriff's non-emergency line, the dispatcher's voice cracking when I said trespassing and 15 occupants. By dusk, I was checked into a daze in that smelled of bleach and regret, the kind of place where the ice machine rattles like bones and the carpet sticks to your bare feet. I spread documentation across the polyester bedspread like autopsy photos, the deed with my name in bold, the insurance rider listing every fixture I'd replaced with my own hands, the emergency access agreement I'd signed when Lila swore. Asterisk hand on heart, tears in her eyes asterisk, she'd never abuse it. My phone lit up like a jellyfish in the dark. "Lila, asterisk, why are you being dramatic?" "It's one weekend, asterisk." I typed, "Enjoy the dark." Sent. Powered off. I slept 3 hours, woke before sunrise with the taste of rust in my mouth, and drove back to Charleston with the windows down, letting the marsh wind scour the last of my mercy. The sky was the color of a bruise, all purple and gold, and the radio played some old country song about losing everything but your pride. Grant met me in his office that smelled of leather and coffee grounds, the kind of scent that clings to $1,000 suits. "They're trespassing," he said, tapping the deed with a pen that cost more than my first dive computer. "We can go nuclear, deputies, cuffs, headlines. Or we make them wish they'd never touched your doorknob." I leaned forward until my reflection stared back from his polished desk, my eyes wild with something I didn't recognize. "Make them wish." He smiled like a man who'd waited years for permission, his teeth too white, his suit too sharp. Utilities suspended. Power, water, Wi-Fi gone. Account holder, Elena M. Reyes. Reason, owner not in residence. Trespass notice filed. Vacate or face removal. I parked at a coffee shop with an ocean view, the kind where the baristas wear flannel and the muffins are the size of your fist. I ordered the largest cold brew they had, black as crude oil, and waited for the scream to travel 90 miles of coastline. It took less time than I thought. Lila's voice cracked through the speaker like ice on a windshield, thin and splintering. "The power's out. There's no water. Marcus's dad needs his CPAP." I sipped my coffee. Black. Bitter. Perfect. I'm the account holder. I suspended service. I'm not using the house. You're killing people. No, Lila. Marcus told me to get the hell out. I'm just following his advice. Marcus grabbed the phone, his breathing ragged, the sound of a man who'd never been told no. "You spiteful." I hung up. Mom called on speaker, Dad's baritone rumbling beneath her pleas like thunder under a tin roof. "This isn't you, Elena. Be reasonable." "Reasonable is letting strangers trash my home?" It's family. Family doesn't steal sanctuary. Silence. Then Mom, soft as a gull's wing, the voice she used when she wanted something. What about the lake house? We were going to leave it to both of you. The threat landed like a jellyfish sting, sharp, lingering, designed to paralyze. I laughed, the sound scraping my throat raw, echoing off the coffee shop's exposed brick. Keep it. I have the ocean. I parked down the street, binoculars on the dashboard like a birder stalking a rare species. The sun bled out across the horizon, painting the sky in shades of arterial red. Cars packed. Coolers dragged. Marcus's father purple-faced, waving a phone like a white flag of surrender. Lila on the porch, arms wrapped around herself like the house had already started to forget her, her silhouette shrinking against the glow of the deputy's cruiser. They left. Lila didn't look back. I waited until the taillights vanished into the sodium glow of the coastal highway, then walked my own threshold. The air inside was thick with beer, sweat, and betrayal. Red wine bled into the white rug like a crime scene, the stains spreading like a bruise. Cigarette burns on the deck rail, my no-smoking deck, the one-eyed sanded by hand until my palms blistered and bled. Upstairs, my bedroom, sheets twisted into knots, my grandmother's jewelry box yawning open like a scream frozen in time. The pearls gone. Grandma's pearls. The ones she'd pressed into my 12-year-old palm the night cancer finally won, her fingers skeletal, her voice a whisper against my ear. Stay curious, Mija. Stay strong. The only heirloom I owned. The only thing that had ever felt like proof I came from somewhere worth remembering. I called Lila. She answered on the fourth ring, voice raw from screaming or crying, I couldn't tell. What now? My pearls are missing. That's ridiculous. I'm filing a report. Everyone who is here is a suspect. You wouldn't. Watch me. Deputy Walsh arrived within the hour, her boots crunching over the shell-strewn path, her flashlight cutting through the dark like a scalpel. She photographed the carnage, the wine-stained rug, the cigarette burns, the violated bed where someone had slept in my sheets, leaving behind the faint scent of strangers' cologne. Proving who took it will be hard, she warned, her voice steady but kind. I have time, I said. I scrubbed until the moon was high and my hands were raw, rage my only fuel. Every stain a memory. Every cigarette burn a scream I'd swallowed for years. The kitchen reeked of shrimp shells and cheap beer, the fridge door hanging open, light flickering over half-eaten takeout and a sticky note. Thanks for the vodka. I ripped it down, crumpled it, but the words were already branded into my retinas. An unknown number rang. Elena? It's Sophie, Marcus's sister. I wasn't there, I swear. But Marcus has been desperate. Gambling debts. Online poker. He's been borrowing from everyone. I wouldn't put it past him. I hung up and stared at the black ocean, the waves gnashing their teeth against the shore. Marcus had pawned my grandmother for a bad bluff. 17 missed calls. Mom, drop the report. Dad, you're tearing us apart. Lila, he's their father. Not one, are you okay? I blocked them all. Deputy Walsh called with the pawn shop footage. Marcus caught mid-handoff, my pearls glinting under fluorescent lights like tiny accusations. Warrant issued. Grand larceny. Mom called from a new number. The police are at the house. How could you? Marcus stole from me. What did you expect? Family forgives. Family doesn't rob the dead. Sophie showed up with mezcal and truth. Marcus arrested. Lila talking divorce. Parents rewriting the will. Embezzlement exposed. Lila came to my apartment, hollow-eyed, 20 pounds lighter. I believed him, she whispered. About everything. We cried like kids again, hiding from the world. I forgive you, I said. But it's different now. Marcus plea bargained. Restitution. Guilty plea. Permanent record. The beach house filled with new voices. Laughter that didn't echo with obligation. Dad's heart attack. Mom's confession. We orchestrated it. Wanted you humbled. I didn't forgive. I said, change or stay strangers. A year later, the deck was crowded with friends, mezcal, and stories. Lila arrived with her new love and my niece screaming, Aunt Elle. Sophie raised a glass. To the women who refuse to drown. I looked at the ocean, wild, unforgiving, eternal. I'd lost the family that measured love in sacrifices. I'd gained the one that measured it in presence. And my grandmother's pearls waited in a pawnshop drawer, not because I needed them, but because I could reclaim what was mine. The tide takes, but it also returns what you're strong enough to fight for. If someone screamed Parasite in your own home, would you walk away? Or would you shut off the lights and watch them learn to swim in the dark? Tell me in the comments.